And we back. Oh baby, I'm back. And we black. Cause we back. And we back and I'm on time. And we back. Let me make sure the sound good. We back. What's good, ladies and gentlemen? What's good? What's good? What's good? Um, Let me make sure my audio is straight. Make sure my audio is straight. Hold on. My mic sounding janky. Let me fix that. Uh, yeah, my mic sounding janky. I'm about to fix that right now. No. Check, check. 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 All right. Check. All right, bad. I know y'all got to get back in the routine of me doing these lives again. But we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Probably not going to be a long stream today. Let me get some things back in order real quick, but I hope everybody is doing well right now. I hope everybody is doing well. Been a good week, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to everybody who may be watching live or watching the playback. Boys and girls, we got a lot to talk about. And I'm gonna keep it real. This one don't have much to do with nursing today. As y'all can see from the title, the broadcast is going to be about, the broadcast is really going to be about the plight of the successful black man. The plight of the successful black man. And we all know how this conversation started. This thing started from our boy, Dr. Umar Johnson, with whom I have a lot of respect for. I have a lot of respect for the good doctor. I really do, because most things he says I agree with. Not everything, but most things I do agree with. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Doc Umar has gone viral once again for his latest statements. He's gone viral. But before we get into that, I wanted to show you all something else too. I wanted to show you something else. Let me just get it together real quick. I want to say shout out to all the new subscribers. Y'all are coming in. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Give me 1 second. Let me get this popping real quick. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see. So, is this video I actually want to show y'all? Hold on. Before we get into the main topic, I wanted to start it off with this. What's good? Oh, and I'm gonna put down the link for anybody who wanna come on up. If anybody wants to come on up and be a panelist on the show, you are more than welcome to. That's the link right there. That is the link right there. But you have to be on camera. You have to show your face. And that's that. Let me make sure this is real quick. I know we ghetto over here today. It's been a minute. I haven't live streamed in almost a month. If that, it was probably longer than that. Okay. All right. Remember, I was talking to y'all about the importance of having your stuff together. Remember, I was telling y'all about that. Well, I'm going to give you a good example of why you should continue to have your stuff together. I'm going to give you an example of why you should continue to have your stuff together because here's the thing. Here's the thing. Before we get into everything else, I don't think people understand, especially men, like men. When we don't have our things together, we are at the mercy of others. We are at the mercy of others. And I'm going to give you an example of what happens when you don't have it together because I meant to do that and I meant to save it. I meant to do it and upload it as a separate video, but I got busy. So I said, I figure why not I bring it to the live stream? Why not bring it to the live stream? Why not show the people why it's important, especially you young brothers out there, the brothers that Umar wants you to be. And see, it's cats like this that I'm about to show you that Umar won't hold accountable. He won't hold these type of cats accountable. And I'm not trying to judge this brother that I'm about to show you, but this the type of cat that he won't hold accountable. But myself and brothers like me, he'll say, well, you know what? You wrong. You wrong for not choosing to be in poverty and everything like that. Hold on one second. I think I see Nurse Roxy in the building. Hold on. Is that Nurse Roxy? Hold on. Nurse Roxy, is that you? Is that you, Nurse Roxy?
It is me.
What's going on?
What it do?
Man, your boy tripping. I need you to take a visit out there in Philly to him real quick and see if we can get some act right going on. How you been doing? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. I think you're breaking up. I can't really hear you.
This is better.
Yeah, that's better. I can hear you now.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, what's your man Umar is tripping.
Wilding per usual.
And I like Umar, but I was about to show the people what happens when you don't have your stuff together real quick.
Go ahead, do it.
I'm gonna share the screen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this young man was he was out here doing things that he wasn't supposed to do. He was out here cheating. Now, I don't condone cheating. I don't condone cheating, but I really don't condone cheating if you don't have your own stuff together. And this is why I tell all the dudes on my channel that you need to have your stuff together, not so that you can cheat. No, you don't want to cheat, but this is what happens when you don't have your stuff together. These are the Umar type dudes that he won't hold accountable. These are these type of dudes. So listen to this, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey man, hey fellas, man, listen, man. If your name ain't on that lease, do not cheat. I ain't saying I was cheating, but I was, these females, man, it's a new generation of them, man. They fuck nigga free. They gorilla city girls. You know what I'm saying? Kick me out the crib, man. I was paying the bills and had their goddamn rent, man. You feel what I'm saying? Still kick me out over a petty argument, which wasn't no argument. She would just think I was cheating, and I wasn't. I was out with the fellas. You know what I'm saying? I was in Matt Main house. But she didn't want to hear that though. So called the police, told me to get out. I ain't got no money. I had a few dollars, but I had to get a fucking storage unit and get the most free jank for $1 down. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't sleep on the streets, it's too cold. So I'm gonna do what I do. But listen, man, fuck nigga free, man. I'm a fuck nigga in the storage unit now, man. You know what I'm saying? I gotta wash my ass in a bucket. You know what I'm saying? Use his book bag, got to hold the goddamn door so it won't open and everything. But I'm gonna thug it out though. I can't afford no hotel room right now. But it is what it is though, man. But listen, man, your name ain't on that lead, do not cheat. You know what I'm saying? They get too much power, these females, man. And, I got a rocket, so I can get my own crib. So I need somebody else to get the crib. But that's the disadvantage, though. You feel what I'm saying? They get brothers, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, though. But listen, man, your name ain't on that lease, man. Do not cheat. Don't look like you cheating, nigga. You gotta be a straight puppet, man. Or just get your own. Real shit.
All right. Now, did you see that, Nurse Roxy?
I did, and that was very hard to watch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very hard to watch.
Yeah, and this is why I try to explain to the fellas that it is important to have your shit together as a man, because like it or not, the world don't feel sorry for you when things go left. Now, this young man has a record. Now, he said he wasn't cheating, but his lady thought he was cheating. Called the police on him with the record and put him out. He has no money. He claims he was paying the bills. No money, paying the bills. And he had to pay $1 down for a storage unit. All because he got kicked out of his lady's house. Now, obviously, he moved in with her because of his name. He was admitting it. If his name was on the lease, she couldn't have did that. Not because of her accusing him of cheating. She couldn't have did that. But this is what happens when you don't have your ish together, boys and girls. And these will be the same type of dudes that Doc will not hold accountable. What do you think about a gentleman in a situation like that, Nurse Roxy?
I mean, it's unfortunate, but you just like everything you just said, you have to have your life together.
Mm-hmm.
Failure to be prepared will put you in a situation where you can be taken advantage of in this way. Because
Mm-hmm.
whether he cheated or not, she can say, "Hey, I want you to go because you're making me feel uncomfortable." You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? It's like
Right.
working in the at will state. She's like, it's an at will relationship,
Yeah, pretty
no
much.
strings attached.
Pretty
Yeah.
much. Yeah, and the funny part about this whole situation is he was like, I got a record, and he got all this stuff going on with him, and you still choosing to be at the mercy of somebody else's hands. Like, if it was me, if I had a record, I'm out here trying to grind, trying to find some jobs that's felony friendly or whatever the case may be. And that's another thing too, to the fellas out there. There are lucrative jobs that you can do with the record, especially if you got a non-violent felony. I know this for a fact. You can be a truck driver. Go get your CDL. You can make 6 figures with the record. They don't care nothing about your record. All you got to do is move that freight. That's it. So it's really no excuses today in 2022 on why a dude can't have his stuff together. Like it's really no excuses. What do you think about the state of men today as a whole? Not just black men, because we're gonna get over to Dr. Umar in a second, but just as a woman, and I know you marry and everything like that, but you got boys, right? You got sons.
I have a son and I have nephews. I always make references to my nephews. They're just like my sons. But
Okay. So you got young men around. What do you
mhm.
feel is the state of young men as you see them today, coming up as a married woman and as a mother? What do you feel about the current state of young men today?
I think we, even considering this situation with this young man you just showed, I think a lot of it says like it's like really the mentality. So like I think a lot of men are being socialized to and I hate to do the black white thing, but I
Mhm.
do think it does, you know, have to make there does need to be a distinction. But in general, I'll just say this: men are being socialized to believe that there's something wrong with them wanting to take lead and be a provider and be a leader in the home. Um, and with that being said, oftentimes there's such a battle. Like, the battle, I think you see it in the workplace, and it comes into the homes where you have women who've taken on certain masculine traits because of the way society is kind of socializing men to kind of take a back seat. It's like, well, let the women lead and all this, girl power and all that kind of stuff. And so what happens is you just you have men not realizing their rightful place as far as being leaders and taking, control of situations. It has nothing to do with income. It has really much more to do with mentality. So if you are in a household where there's a strong man, you're most likely able to model, or there's men around you, you're able to model those behaviors, that maturity, being that leader, being that responsible, accountable person. And then you have, the women around you, and then the women that you attract understanding their position because you're in the rightful place. She then knows her position.
Mm-hmm.
But if we keep following where things are going, just like the status quo or what the mainstream is pushing, you'll have women, literally taking on such masculine traits that, you see women literally acting like men. They have attitudes similar to the ones a man would have. Their perception, their perspective on things is so masculine. You like wonder, like, will you ever be able to be like, these are heterosexual women saying that they want to be with men, but it's like, you act like a man.
Mm,
You're too strong and independent.
mm. Let me ask you something. Do you think it's an American woman thing? Because later on, well, we'll probably, yeah, later on, we're going to drift into the whole rise of the passport bros, the whole movement of brothers getting their passports and wanting to seek out women from other countries. Do you think it's an American woman thing with the whole masculinity aspect of what we're talking about?
I'm going to say yes, as far as the marketing and the pushing of that agenda.
Mm-hmm.
I think that oftentimes, just like Pepsi Cola and Coca Cola, you know, when something is marketed from our culture, or the what we could, deem as American culture, American society norms, when other countries sometimes take on some of those attributes, you see it like, oh, okay, this person is taking on what you say, like an American style of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
This idea of, like, let's say, like, and I'm not saying other groups don't do it, but and then you see that's another thing too, because you got to be careful with those type of stereotypes,
Mm-hmm.
because I do think that in other cultures they may have female dominance where there could be a lot that you have to consider. I mean, even the thing about like colonialism and, slavery globally could have a huge impact on women not knowing their place because men have been subjugated for whatever reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be careful with that. But I do think that in other cultures, you don't have this push for women to be dominant. That's really an American thing. And I hate to sound like, I know I probably sound like I was just said like
No, go
hypocrisy
ahead.
there, but it's like there is a certain part of that agenda that I think is very much an American agenda. Where in
Mm,
other cultures, like I said, even if you see female dominance in the household, they understand that, like, the man is supposed to have this position. You know what I mean?
I got you.
Hmm.
I totally understand. Okay, so let's get into our boy. Okay, so I'm gonna play a clip of what Umar actually said, and you know, Umar has said some outlandish things before, and he said some things that I didn't really agree with. But I've actually heard him kind of say this before, but it never really, like I didn't really pay attention to it. But it's like I hear him saying it, and I hear Boyce Watkins saying it, and I'm just not feeling this whole pocket watching, um, who we mentality. Like I'm not feeling that because I feel like that's what a lot of people do when it comes to certain men of, whether you want to call it men of means, men of status, men of power, whatever the case may be. But let me get to this clip. I'm gonna get to this clip and then we can discuss it. I'm gonna get to
more than the single black mother. Mm-hmm. I'm blaming more than the single black mother. Mm-hmm. I'm blaming the professional black man. There's nothing a single mother can do wrong in that house, raising the sons or the daughters, where I'm going to fault her more than a professional black man for abandoning the black community.
Let me stop it right there. I'm gonna keep going, but did you hear what he just said? He said there's nothing he will fault a single black mother for more than he will fault a black man, a educated, successful black man for leaving the actual community. Can I get your thoughts on that? On that first statement he said?
So with Dr. Umar, I love Dr. Umar. I love Dr. Umar Johnson's theories on, like, childhood education, the classroom to prison pipeline thing. I'm all there for him, with him on that. The thing with Dr. Umar that we have to be very careful with is that Dr. Umar is he's opening up a school. He's focused oftentimes on what's happening in the education realm, specifically with Black children.
Mm-hmm.
Just considering that most of his audience, he does not have he cannot speak to how should I say, the issues of all Black communities and all Black households. I'm speaking specifically to the group of people he resonates with and who his services are targeted for, right? And they're specifically catered to meet the needs of this group.
Mm-hmm.
They are Black women, primarily single Black mothers. And so when he's speaking to his audience, he's speaking to an audience that is not only his audience. You have to remember, he also is, because of the work he's been doing, God bless him, it's been very much focused on donations. So when he's talking, he is speaking from a stand. Why you laugh? Because you think about donations.
Donations,
And so
right?
exactly. So the thing with him is when he's speaking about to whatever his thing that he's addressing, I always have to take with a grain of salt, because I know this man is also pandering to the people. Like, he's a politician. I hate to
Yeah,
sound like this, but
he
at
is.
this point, he's a politician. Yeah.
Yep. Yep, he is. And he said, like, it irritates me because speaking from a place of a person who had nothing handed to him, who came from the same communities that a lot of other people came from, like, I don't understand why he feels that it is necessary, because he is a person of influence. He is a person who have a lot of people that listen to him. And I'm sure he has a lot of young men that listen to him. I listen to him. You know what I'm saying? I like what he does. But for him to say something to me that's so dangerous, like, you will not charge a single mother. What do you say? He's not going to hold her more accountable than the educated Black man who chooses to leave that situation, who chooses to leave poverty. And this is the biggest issue, I think, that is in the Black community today, that we look at struggle as a badge of honor. We take that as a badge of honor. I know I've heard women, and I'm gonna say sisters. I've heard some sisters, not all, come out their mouth and say, I want to be a single mother. I'm willingly want to be a single mother. If I don't do this by this time, I'm going to go to the sperm bank, or I'm going to get this guy to get me pregnant, and I'll just raise the kid on my own. That is some of the most abusive language that I've ever heard. Why would you willingly want to become a single mother, especially with the economy that we are in right now, where there's going to be more homelessness than ever before? Because I don't know if you're aware, Nurse Roxy, most places, most landlords are starting not to accept the Section 8 vouchers. Winter is coming. Have you heard about that?
Well, I knew that it was on its way, but the extent to where it's at right now, no. Please, please, if you don't mind, share with me. Even after the show, you could send me some articles or anything you have access to.
Oh yeah, Matt, I don't mind. I'm gonna let Umar rock on this clip, but I'll definitely pull up because I sent my girl this the other day because her and I were having, we always talk about stuff like this, and she goes that people are gonna have to start living with their family members again because it's just simply not gonna be enough money around, and it's not gonna be enough income, and some people are just simply not gonna be able to afford it. And this is what I'm talking about. And people, like a lot of people don't understand, especially some women, they don't understand the importance of the nuclear family. They don't understand that. And now it's showing. Not to spin off into a whole eminism tirade, but it was one big trick from the devil. But let me finish this, Umar. We're gonna see what he talking about. Hold on one second.
If you notice, most black men of means, they have moved out. They have abandoned black boys. Even if his father is not in the home, that should not be an automatic introduction to the school to prison pipeline.
He says most men of means have abandoned. Listen, successful people get killed in their own neighborhoods. Successful people get killed in their own neighborhoods. And I'm not saying that the suburbs are so much better, but I'll be damned to sit up here and tell young black men that they need to stay in a place of poverty because, like it or not, when you become more successful and people are aware of your success, and if you are living in any environment to where the resources are scarce and people know that you got it, you become a target. Umar sounds crazy when he says, oh, well, you've abandoned the black community because you no longer live in the black community. That is absurd. That's absurd. Because you telling me that I don't want to live in a place of poverty. I don't want to live in a place where some people have the kill or be killed mentality, where some people have that I got to get it any way possible. You telling me I'm wrong for not wanting to be around that? And so you're going to hold me, a man who is on the grind, on his purpose, trying to be successful. You're going to hold me accountable for babies that I didn't even make? How does that make any kind of sense? Help me out, Nurse Roxy.
See, for me, when I hear that, I hear someone who, yeah, it's okay to say all of that behind a camera screen and telling people what you think your personal opinion is. Then the next question I'm going to ask you is, are you a part of any kind of local government, um, organizations or lawmaking agencies, or affiliated with the local police department, any kind of law enforcement? And the reason why I say that is because then if you're connected, you can more easily inject your opinion and have things kind of flow in a way where maybe you can reassure these young men, hey, you can stay here in these neighborhoods that, there may be crime here and there, but I can keep you safe. See, he can say whatever he wants to behind that screen, but he can't protect any of these young men, black men. So, and also, just like you said, so where's the credibility of being black, like coming from this idea that you get this like extra credit for sticking around? Like my thing is, it's one thing if, like I said, if you're going to open your mouth and you're going to say how people are supposed to live, then tell me that you're at least able to promise them that they have nothing to worry about.
Right.
So I'm going to stay there in a situation that is unsafe, unpredictable, to be a martyr.
No,
You know what I
absolutely
mean?
not. Makes no sense.
Yeah. Right. And
Like
then
it
on top
really
of it,
makes no
just
sense.
also keep in mind, also keep in mind, this is a person who's constantly traveling. So for all we know, the same places he's telling people to sit around and hang out and stay and stay and stay and stay, he pretty would tell you, I don't have no time. He says it all the time about cookies before, what he calls it,
Cookies before
consciousness before
consciousness.
consciousness before cookies. I mean,
Oh yeah,
he's,
consciousness before the cookies.
yeah, he's always talking about how he has to travel. He has so many things to do, and he need both of his wives because he gotta have two. You know, to like, be able to, deal with the fact that he got to get up and go. So it's like, by virtue of what he's saying himself, he's not even around to deal with the shenanigans. He's asking people who made hella sacrifice. Because for you to come from the hood and be educated, you make it a hell of a sacrifice. So I'm supposed to just dump all of that aside to be a martyr.
No.
And where you at? He ain't even with you.
And
He on a plane somewhere.
and not to take a shot at Dr. Umar, because I do respect him, but I have to call him up to the stand because now, as far as I know, he has, from what I hear, he allegedly has two baby mothers, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't think he's married to either one of them. So is that the reason that you say, well, it should be men like me? Should I be taking care of Dr. Umar's kids? Should I be responsible for the kids that he made and the women that he chose to give babies to, but not marry? Am I responsible for that? Because I don't want to be around that and I don't want to take care of another man's child. Black men who are successful, you are not obligated to take care of children that are not yours. Listen, in the 80s and in the 90s, being a stepfather was probably cool. You know what I'm saying? I got an amazing stepfather. You dig what I'm saying? But I really feel like that is an anomaly because in most cases, being a stepfather is a raw deal. And I'm just going to be honest with you. It's a raw deal. And then somebody will argue, well, I needed a male role model in my life and everything like that. And that's cool. I can mentor you from a distance. I have no problem with mentorship. I think mentorship is very important. But what you are not going to do is make me responsible for children I did not make. What's going on? What's up, Earl? What's going on?
What up, man? How you doing?
What's popping?
Not much, man. Just living, man. I'm about to grind out, trying to pass this NCLEX myself, man. You give me real motivation. You from the city.
Man,
So,
you got it, bruh. You gonna pass that joint. You got it when you taking it.
I'm finishing up my, I'm in the middle of my second trimester of getting my LPN. So I'm like super motivated. I don't know. Have you ever heard of Metal Lodge? Where you at?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I ended up beginning. I was a CNA up in Michigan, but I ended up coming down south to. But I had a cheaper nursing school because, like, I think when I was going on, like, COVID had first started hitting, so it kind of delayed me for a year though. But I'm back on it, man, and I'm trying to stay above an 80. You know how that go though.
Yeah, man. I've been there. About to hop into it again, man. Well, I appreciate you for coming up. Let me ask you something real quick, just to maybe prove a point. How did you find me, Earl?
I just the internet, and then I knew some. It was some chicks in Lansing. You ever been in Lansing?
Yeah, I worked in
Yeah,
Lansing.
I hooped. I used to hoop in Lansing, so I worked at a Metal Lodge up there, and so somebody was telling me that you had a channel or whatever. I had randomly seen it. I don't know, I think it was like maybe I think it was an Urban Nurse or something like that.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah, I ended up I just ended up hearing I watched a couple of your videos and whatever. I said, you know what? I'm sorry. I was like, man, you had, I mean, what you had said, like, I mean, I don't know if it's your accent or whatever. I was like, man, you sound like you from the city, man. I don't know if you from the D, you from the rock or whatever. And so, yeah, man, that's how I found you.
Man, I appreciate it. And look, and this is what I'm talking about. See, to me, I feel like what I'm doing is when black men see people that look like them, like when other black men see a person like me, somebody who came from the city, somebody from Detroit, Michigan, came from the east side, you know what I'm saying? And they see that I can do it and I'm a work in progress. This is what I'm talking about. To me, that is the mentorship that people need. People know that if they want to holler at me, all they got to do is shoot me an email. It's no big deal. But again, I'm not going to be responsible for taking care of other men's children. You can't hold me to that. What do you think about that, Earl?
I 110% agree. Man, it's I think it's so bad out here, man. It's like, I'm like I feel like like especially as being a nurse, kind of kind-hearted by nature.
Right.
And so, I feel like, it's hard to see kids go through bad things, but, I always have to remember, like, man, I came from the D. It was hard, it was hard for me. I went to that top ramen desert and eating boiled, microwaving hot dogs, couldn't even boil them. So it's like,
Right.
at the end of the day, I feel like that kind of makes you who you are.
Fact.
It prepares you for who you got to be, when you're an adult. So, I definitely, I feel like more men just need to be responsible for their own kids.
Facts. You got any children?
I have a daughter. Just
Okay.
one daughter.
And you take care of your daughter. You do everything in your power that's necessary to take care of your daughter, correct?
Correct.
Exactly. See, this is what I'm talking about. This man Earl didn't go, and I don't know Earl, but this man Earl didn't go out here and make somebody a volunteer single mother. You did. He out here doing his thing, trying to upgrade his life in nursing school. And that's the thing. So you want a successful person like Earl to come out here, get his degree, do what he got to do. He got his own child to take care of. And are you with your child's mother or not? You married?
No, I'm not. She's just not. I think she in the process of getting a divorce. But nah, we kind of spaced that. I kind of put that to the side because I really wanted to pursue this nursing thing.
Right.
And so I looked at it as a sense of I could be a role model for my child, and
Right.
and like, especially like especially being from the D, I kind of was like, I got a lot of girls cousins on the east side who got niggas with that mindset of just trying to impregnate and not be there. So my people was kind of real, they was kind of hard on me about that growing up. It's like, you make a child, you're responsible for it,
Fact.
and so I look at it in that sense of if she want to give up the booty, she want to give up the booty, and in that whole sense, and people are adults, man. It's just it's a vicious cycle of that shit,
Absolutely. And I'm all for mentorship because mentorship is very important. But to make a statement as he did and say that it is the fault of the educated man, black man of means for not volunteering to be a step father, you are wrong for that. He is wrong for that.
Yeah, that is wrong.
Because you go out here and you become a high earner, a man making over six figures. You now put yourself in the top 10% of all earners in the country. Earl, is that right that you should take food out your daughter's mouth to come and put food to come to put your resources in another man's daughter or son's mouth because of your status now or how you elevated? You dig what I'm saying? Because if you was a bum, he wouldn't be holding you to this regard. He said, I don't blame the rappers. I don't blame the NBA players. What you talk? Well, who do you blame? Because you won't blame the niggas that's getting them pregnant.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me get to the rest of this clip. Earl, you can stay up if you want. Yeah, so let me get to the rest of this clip real quick.
I'll let you go ahead, man.
We don't have enough men who stay in the black community to serve as role models to the young brothers who are still there. I don't blame the rappers. I blame professional black men who have abandoned the black community for a life in the suburb, even if he has a black wife.
Your sound is out. You're on mute.
Okay,
As you
Earl
were
dipped
saying?
out. Okay, he dipped out. So he said, even if you got a black wife, you still wrong because you left. So Umar ain't for the interracial relationships, but damn. So I got a sister with me. I'm popping right now. Me and this sister are examples of how to do things. We're not perfect, but we doing what we supposed to do. We ain't hurt nobody. We ain't stealing from nobody, and we still wrong according to Umar. 100 lashes. He will probably get me. He probably get me
Oh
about
yeah,
300 lashes
about three, about get about a good 3, 4.
and put me in the book of Negroes.
Listen,
I'm definitely in the book of Negroes after this. So I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it.
well, again, like I said, he got his audience he caters to. He's a man on a mission. He's trying to get his donations up. He's going to say things that's going to appeal to his constituency. He wants them to understand that he respects and understands his perspective. I mean, he was completely against KS. Even
Right.
though a lot of times he'll draw on his talking points.
A
And one
lot.
day he'll say he hate the red pill community. Another time he go down, chastising, the women for all kinds of stuff. And he'll get at black women, for not supporting black men. So sometimes I just think with him, he has his audience he's trying to appeal to, but it's very much, I think, tied into a lot of what he has probably found has been his disappointments around support. So maybe if there were black men just coming out the wazoo, I mean, apparently Charlemagne the God is um uh I guess an angel investor, considering that he invites him to his shows to speak. I'm sure that he's getting paid to make those appearances. So to a certain degree, he's getting that. And I'm sure other people are probably still supporting him, but not to the extent where he probably, feels that, he's well known. He has memes out there. He knows that people know who he is and they know what he's trying to do. He sees his viewership when he's on other people's panels or he's visiting shows and stuff. So I'm sure he's probably thinking that there are, well-to-do black men who he feels, they have their men of means, and he's thinking that they should be supporting his thing. It's hard for me to overlook the fact that he has this project.
All right.
You know what I mean? His school, and God bless him with the school. I ain't knocking him for it, but there's a part of it that it's hard for me to overlook that, because sometimes people start getting into that, like what you mentioned, pocket watching, when they actually need some dollars.
Mhm.
Everything is cool, whatever money you make. But the moment that I see that I'm a little short and I'm going to run to E, now I start looking at what everybody else is spending money. Like, oh, you got money for lobsters? And you see, I'm over here struggling trying to pay these bills. Like, I get that kind of energy from him sometimes.
Absolutely. Donations. Yeah, he told somebody
Donations,
you want to
donations,
buy grits.
donations.
Yeah, he said you going to buy grits. You could have sent that to me.
Exactly.
One of them type cats. And
Oh,
and
yeah.
I can't co-sign that. I just can't co-sign that. Now, I was telling you about the landlords not accepting Section 8. Winter is coming, boys and girls. They tried to warn you. They tried to tell you winter is coming. You better get you somebody that you can room with soon. You better find you a dude. You better find you a girl. You better do something because it's not looking good. It is not looking good, ladies and gentlemen, and fellas, to my well-to-do fellas with no children. Listen, this is what happens when you invest your resources in things that aren't yours. Okay, you don't want to end up here. So let's check this out.
Glow you can't help. Ruth Hancock has a glow you can't help but notice.
I am truly
Grateful for her bird Crystal, her dog,
This is Tia.
and an apartment they can all call home.
I actually lived up under the bridge in the West End area.
That was 5 years ago, before moving into Capitol View. It's an apartment complex that accepts housing vouchers, a rental assistance program for those in poverty. For Ruth, that means she only pays 30% of her income on rent. The government picks up the rest. But not everyone gets that chance.
It's just like a waste of time.
We met Yvonne Sims and Vincent Dillard at Athens city-sanctioned encampment. You could technically be in an apartment right now if you could find one that would accept the voucher.
Yes.
Both have been approved for the
Okay. Sanction internment camps. And you thought it wasn't getting bad out here? Oh yeah. Winter's coming. What do you think about that, Nurse Roxy?
I mean, I'm just checking the body language. You see this black man head dropping. He's fidgeting with his hands. You see the woman. She's there standing upright with a napkin in her hand. I guess she's using that for her tears. It's like, I mean, I think the thing that concerns me the most is that there's this mentality I think a lot of black folks have that they can like circumvent hard work, and they don't understand, like, just by design we are so far behind everyone else that there really is no time to chill. So
Mhm.
when you see black folks with this idea of like chilling above all else, by the time they hit their 30s or 40s, expect them to have an entitlement problem where they think people should take care of them, or they're into committing crimes, or both. Because um like, the light bulb should have went off in your head just by looking at your environment. Most of us, unfortunately, of course, there's a segment of black folks that don't know anything about poverty. But so many of us, because of redlining, we understand that we have to work very hard to make life for ourselves. So this right here is one of those type of things where, when do you get that light bulb? Because listen, you can't tell me that these two folks couldn't open up a cleaning business.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
don't need any degree for that. You know what I mean? You could literally open up a cleaning business or go work at the steak store. Work the out. Whatever. The wine and spirits. Whatever. I mean, there's so many places you can work at. Grocery store where you don't have to have a
Everybody's
degree,
hiring. Everybody's hiring.
and everybody's
Everybody's
hiring this level of work. We're not talking about you talking about I'm trying to break in IT. This level of work that these two individuals, most likely by the choices that I'm seeing that they're making to live in that environment, I'm sure that they can get some, customer facing, you know, quote unquote essential worker kind of work. So when did they decide that they were going to become society's responsibility?
Mhm. And see, some people will chalk that up to, well, maybe they have a mental disability or something like that. And I can take that into consideration. Listen, if you are a person who is physically handicapped, if you are a person who may be mentally handicapped, if you have an ailment, chronic pain, disease, I can understand that. But here's my caveat to that. I worked with an individual, and this is maybe why I don't have as much sympathy as the next person may have. I work with a guy who has multiple sclerosis. Um, Dude literally can't move nothing but his hands. Like, all he can do is his hands. He can't move his limbs. He is too weak to move his legs and his upper extremities. The only thing he can literally move are his hands. And this dude has a wheelchair. He has a motorized wheelchair. Do you know this dude has two jobs? He has one job at Walmart as a greeter, and he has another job at the movie theaters as a ticket taker. Now, if a man who cannot physically really move, only thing he can move is 5% of his body, which is his hands. If a man can still get up and get a job, what is the excuse for most people? And today, and this is why, like, I have such low tolerance for excuses, because in this day and age where you can make money from your phone, there are none. It's not the 70s no more. It's not the 80s no more. There are none. But here's the thing. They'll tell somebody like me, or they'll tell dudes who identify with the way that I think, or identify with the way that you think, that these people are your responsibility because they're black. They're your responsibility. You need to go back and pour your resources and pour all of them into them because they're black. You owe them simply because they're black. And that is a plight that they put on successful black people that is totally unfair. You can't put that on people. They want to success shame you. Just like they did Tariq Nasheed when he got his museum. What you doing with all that money? And you making all that money off the movies and everything like that. And so what? I hope he make millions. If he put in the work, let him put in the work and make millions and millions. That's what you are supposed to do. We are still in a capitalist society, ladies and gentlemen. We still in one. And I cannot be.
Am I sorry?
Okay. No, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
no, no. Go. Please finish. No, finish.
No, I was gonna say like, and I can't be responsible for the actions of other adults, grown people, grown men. I can't be responsible for grown women who I'm not even sleeping with. What? But go ahead, Nurse Roxy. That's all I was saying.
No, I feel you. I mean, I was just going to add that when you just said when you said we live in a capitalist society, and I hope he makes his money. He's imparting knowledge, and it doesn't matter if you want to agree with his opinion and his perspective on things or not. He's imparting knowledge. He is providing a product, whether you want to call it infotainment, entertainment, whatever. And if he goes ahead with this museum, he's providing more educational resources, right?
Right.
There's
there's
people. Look at this FTX dude with the cryptocurrency. All these cryptocurrency dudes. Look at this lady. What's her name? Elizabeth Holmes talking about with Theranos. Said that she could do a blood labs with just a prick of a finger. These people are coming from all you know. I'm saying, big money, and they out here scamming, right?
Yeah.
So to me, I don't want to hear nobody tell me that I'm not telling you I agree with Tariq Nasheed 100% all the time. But as far as him going ahead and making that money, I'd rather him go ahead and make that money for open a museum, open a school, open a park. Shit, he could design a bike. I don't care. Right. Because at the end of the day, I see all these thieving behind people taking people's money and fools giving away their money. And then they got nothing to do with the betterment of anybody.
All right.
They could care less about anybody getting better. They got 100 million. They can't wait to get to 100 billion. Yep. And they ready to throw their money out to see if their investments will grow. The next hot idea that come out, they got their money on it. So I don't want to hear nobody crab in the barrel, little minded, small minded, immature mentality saying that somebody cannot work hard to make money, and you start pocket watching that. Come on.
Absolutely. The great Kevin Samuel said that if you complaining about being broken, you're not even working 60 hours a week, you need to shut the hell up. And then people will be like, well, what if some people just don't know? It's funny how people always saying, well, some people they just don't know. And they are, people are ignorant to certain things. But I tell you what a lot of people do know how to do? They know how to have sex. They know how to do that. They know how to have sex with plenty of women. They know how not to buy condoms. They know how to do that. They know how to make babies.
They know how to be players too.
Right.
And this is for the women. This is for the men and the women.
Yeah. They know how to ask for a Birkin and don't even know how much one cost. You dig? They know how to keep them nails laced. And shout out to all the girls that keep the nails done. I like that. They know how to keep that hair right. But so what's the excuse? And that's all I'm saying. Like the time for that is over, ladies and gentlemen. And what I'm not going to let Umar or Boyce Watkins do is fault the men who choose to protect their seed, because this is what really this is all about. It's about protecting your seed, watching who you are laying up with, just being aware of who you choose, to inject your seed into. You did. Be careful. You say career says black men can be stepfathers if they want to. Yeah, if they want to, but they're not obligated to. That's what this is about. They're not obligated to be stepfathers. And if a black man with no children chooses not to be a stepfather, he should not be demonized for it. He should not be made a villain for it. Because, like it or not, most men do not want to raise another man's child. Let me get Earl back up in here. What's up, Earl?
What's up, man? I just had a quick question. I got cut off with but didn't Umar get caught up with a black single mama that lost him like $1 million donation?
Yeah, the stripper.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't want to crap on Umar, but when you start saying reckless things like that, you make yourself a target for your past to get brought up. You dig what I'm saying? As a public person, that's unfair. Yeah, black men can be stepfathers if they choose to. I'm not knocking that. I'm not knocking a black man being a stepfather. All I'm saying is that they need to know what comes with that and what comes just what comes with it. Especially the more children that she has. Because I was talking to the ladies at work and I was saying, okay, well, if you get with a dude, he wants to marry you, his resources come into your household or his household or however they got it set up. Can that man discipline your child? Oh, no. And I said, thank God I don't have kids because I would be a hypocrite. Because I know that if another man was to dare touch my child, it would be a problem. That's why I don't do it. That's why I don't date women with children. Because I don't even want those potential problems. I don't want those problems. Because as a man, I understand that. Earl, as a father of a daughter, what is your thoughts about that? Could another man discipline your daughter if the mother of your child moved on and married somebody else? How would you feel about that?
Hell no, I was not. I mean,
right.
Hell no. I mean, I looked at it in a sense. I mean, I went through that situation with my baby mama, and I definitely agree with you about just like at the end of the day, I feel like it's a money game. It's like okay, as long as your belly full, you gonna love me. When your belly get empty, you gonna hate. So that was my whole approach to that situation because I was like, that really stopped me from having kids. And so I rethought that. I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be no stereotype. I don't. I just on a personal note, I did not want to be that. Right. So I'm like, you know what? One is enough for right now. In the future, God bless me with another child, then I accept it. But at the end of the day, I feel like I'm not trying to bash on women and that, but
no, we're not doing that.
It's a system. It's a system of just thinking that struggling is cool because that Section 8 welfare, WIC, all that. And then, and on top of that, doing that, going that route, it's in your best interest to be married, to even want to even have that, and so that's how I kind of look at it, and I feel like just, as far as me pursuing nursing, I feel like, what you were saying about just being a target, because, you look at the not even, push the 6-figure salary aside for a second. Look at your benefits. It's cheaper for you to have a baby, CJ. Yeah. Look at your, look at the insurance. They ain't trying to get no more. They ain't trying to get any insurance out here. Insurance too high.
Yep.
Yeah. And so that's how I'm looking at it.
For sure. And then, like, fella, listen. And I'm desperately talking to the guys with no kids. Like, I had a conversation with a young man who's 19 years old and he just graduated LPN school. You know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't imagine myself at 19 years old making that kind of money because I'll probably have a gang of kids out here. I'll probably been hella reckless. I'll probably been tricking it off. You dig what I'm saying? Like mentally, I probably wouldn't have been ready for nothing like that. And I just told him, like, bro, I am extremely proud of you because to be so young, doing what you're doing, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a major accomplishment and you should be celebrated. You dig what I'm saying? And I begged him. I damn near begged him. I said, bro, for the love of everything that's right, do not go out here and have no baby right now. You as of now, right now, that will railroad your whole life. And I know it's tempting because you a target and you gonna have girls throwing it at you and they gonna see you. And he a flossy dude, which I'm not mad at. I ain't knocking that. But he a flossy dude. He like jewels and all that kind of stuff. You making yourself a target. Oh, I know my body. I don't ovulate to this day. Man, don't listen to that.
Can I ask you something, CJ?
Go ahead.
Like real talk, when you pass your NCLEX, right? Was your first things like, you know what? I gotta bounce off to Oakland County. I gotta go to Macomb. I gotta move out. I gotta, you know, it ain't, it's not, being in the city is not no more catering to what I really want.
Man, listen, bro. When I passed my NCLEX, I was living in Taylor, and Taylor is like the ghetto. You got the Hicks. You know what I'm saying? Like it was downriver, and I hated Taylor. I hated being there, but at the time, you know what I'm saying? I wanted my spot. You know what I'm saying? That was all I could get at the time.
Yeah.
Nigga, as soon as I as soon as I started working good,
Yeah.
I was out. I was out. Because you got to be around you have to manifest. You know what I'm saying? One of the things that my mom did when we was little, she would take us out to the suburbs and around all these nice houses and everything like that. Because she would say, well, if you work hard, you can have this. You can be in nice areas. You need to sometimes you have to go out of your comfort zone and go to the places that you want to be and just sit in that area and dine in some of them places because at that point you manifesting what you want in life. You dig what I'm saying? And that's all I be trying to tell people. Like, you don't have to be poor. You ain't gotta be no rapper. You ain't gotta be no actor. But it's so much bread in nursing, bro. It's just, do you want to put in the work? You know what I'm saying? A lot of people don't want to put in the work. Like man, as a male in nursing, bro, I ain't gonna cap. Cause at first I thought it was just people talking, but you do have an advantage as a male in nursing, bro. People love male nurses. They love them. They love them. You know what I'm saying? Like I've had issues at work, but nothing like how a lot of the females do.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them girls be having, I be in and out. And I work with some great female nurses, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, like I really don't have no smoke. I don't have no problems. I be in and out. I be getting to that bread. I don't be like, we really do have an advantage because like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Like people just look at male nurses different. I don't know. But like I said, man, keep grinding and keep pushing because it's real, bro. You don't, and it, like I said, now imagine how hard you working in nursing school. No, I've never experienced somebody just career acts. Have I ever experienced bullying in nursing? Absolutely not. I have not. I haven't experienced. I've seen other people bully other people, but I've never been bullied. Um, I've never seen it, so it's never happened to me. But I have seen other people get bullied though. But I've never seen it. Um, but yeah, Earl, like I can only imagine. Can you imagine working so hard in school and somebody say, well, you ain't good enough because you don't want to help this woman over here with 6 kids by 7 different dudes.
No, man, I was gonna tell you when I became a tech, I was just getting off. I was sitting on my grandma's couch up in the D, and I was like, you know what? It's time to finish this because I ended up having my state boards. You know, you get them. I think they expire like every 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and so I went back and got them. But I was faced with that same situation because it's like, I think in that preparation for going to nursing school, I end up seeing what you were saying is just about like, you become a target, more women take notice to you and things like that. But, the thing about it is, all these situations is just is different. And, and I look at it as like, it's some things that I want, it's some things that I want to take care of myself. So, in that whole situation is really sticky because it's like, I hear what that person's saying, but I don't feel like black men is the issue. I feel like it has to be some type of accountability on the black woman's part just as well, and that's how I look at it. Like,
Well, I think when it comes to when we speaking about the black community, I just think that as a black female, you have to be aware of who you're letting up inside you.
true.
You have to take accountability for that. It's so many girls who have sex with men with no money and nothing going for them. Like Nurse Roxy, am I tripping? You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you be around a lot of women. Like it's a lot of women that have sex with broke men with no futures because
Very
that's who
much.
that's who got them wet.
They want somebody who they'll say things like an attribute will be something like he has a gun, or he has a nice car, or when I come home at night he's there, so they got this man to put him on their back, and that's a priority for him, and that's all the qualification they have, is that he can get hard.
You right, no, you right, because, and I think to add to that, I'm like, man, I just think the whole point is whoever's around them the longest. In my experience, like just you being there for so long around them, then that kind of pushes that whole sense of well, I'm having sex with just who's there.
Right. And I be trying to tell the young girls at my job, like, it is nothing wrong with wanting a man to take care of you. And I feel like it's this stigma around a woman wanting a man to take care of her. I don't think there's nothing wrong with that if you are a woman worthy of being taken care of. You have to bring something that makes it worth it for that man to say, okay, I don't even want you stressing out because you so fly. I want to just make sure you are in your feminine at all times. If you want to get you a little business popping off, go ahead. It's nothing wrong with that. Now I know some women just like to work, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that either. But I don't think the chicks that want to stay home, that want to be a housewife, I don't think they should be talked about and bullied and all that kind of stuff. Because I hear that a lot. But I'm saying, stop letting these broke men get you pregnant. You have to guard your womb.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, some of the stories I hear, like, you knew this nigga wasn't shit to begin with. Like, you knew. Like, stop capping. You knew he wasn't shit to begin with. You were the third baby mama. The third. Like, for real. You knew this nigga wasn't nothing to begin with. You just thought you could change him.
Exactly.
I hear this word potential so much. Potential. My nigga, if he's 35 and 38, we need a little bit more than potential at this point. We need some potential to be showing. You shouldn't be letting no 35-year-old man with potential skeet inside of you. That's all I'm saying. You got to protect your womb, because now you'll be out here upset that you don't have a Section 8 voucher that somebody will accept. And that's all we saying. We are not bashing. But if I had a daughter, I would tell my daughter the same thing. Like, you got to protect your womb. I understand you human. You gonna meet a nice dude, you know what I'm saying? You probably think he cute. He get you off. But the nigga better have some resources behind him before you end up like half these chicks out here. You dig what I'm saying? And I get it. A lot of dudes who work a lot, be squares and stuff. I understand it, and that be our issue too. Like I be trying to tell, like I be like, it's not necessarily she attracted to the Pookies and Ray Rays. It's just a lot of niggas with 9 to 5s are boring. Like point blank, period. A lot of them are boring, and I get that. But damn, at the same time, I mean, you just better watch. Because a woman told me the other day, said she was miserable her whole pregnancy. Her whole pregnancy. Because when she told my man's when she was pregnant, he just started tripping. He disappeared. They was doing ring shopping and all that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden, as soon as she said, I'm pregnant, all that went out the window. And shout out to the sister. But Nurse Roxy, as a female, how often do you think dudes be pulling the wool over women's eyes? Like they just had no idea he was this type of man. How often do you feel like that's accurate?
I almost never seen that before. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. I always say this, especially if somebody tells me that they're dating somebody, especially if they're in the market, so they frequently dating people, and with someone they saying, "Oh, this day now they dating somebody else," whatever the case is. Once they start telling me little nitpicky stuff like, "Yeah, I like him, but he can't really keep a job," or "Yeah, I like him, but a lot of times when I'm talking to him, I notice that he's not really the brightest, or he's not really responsible with his money." And I always say, those things that you are picking up are not things that anybody told you. If these are things that you picked up on your own, that's most likely going to be the thing that you're not going to stop focusing on until he corrects that. So to answer that question, I have never seen a woman. Now, I wouldn't say the man is tricking them. I would say that woman is tricking herself. She's convincing herself that those things are not issues because, he ain't all bad and nobody's perfect. Those kind of things. I think those are the women usually talk themselves into that kind of thing. Because a woman knows when a man is out of position. I think women can get away with a lot more than a man can. But I think for the most part, when a man is out of position is usually more obvious, and you usually see women compensating for that.
Yeah. Ladies, I got a lot of lady subscribers. Actually, I looked at my statistics. Most of my subscribers are women. So I know a lot of women watch this channel. 57% of my subscribers are women. So I just want y'all to really protect your womb. You know what I'm saying? And again, if you are a single mother, nobody's knocking you. Okay. I'm not knocking you. I'm not bashing you. And I've had single mothers that have agreed with the things that I've said. But you just have to understand that it's a cost. And I know I know every situation ain't the same. Some of y'all have lost your husbands. You know what I'm saying? Some of y'all gotten divorced. It could be a number of scenarios. But for the one who are just reckless with the womb, letting anybody all up in the club, no. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. But okay, so we're an hour and 13 minutes in. So the last little bit of the show, I wanted to talk about this Passport Bro movement. Are you all familiar with the Passport Bros and this whole Passport Bro movement? Okay, so pretty much the Passport Bros are a movement where black men are getting their passports and they're dating women overseas because they no longer want to deal with American women.
Well, Rio de Janeiro.
So Earl, let me ask you, from your point of view, when it comes to dating, could you ever see yourself? You single, right? You a single man.
Yeah.
Could you ever see yourself getting your passport and potentially dealing with the women from other lands, foreign lands, whether it be some of the countries in Africa or over in Thailand or Brazil? Could you see that for yourself?
Oh yeah, most definitely. I definitely got a love for American women, but I feel like culture plays so much into our dating lives as adults that I have definitely considered that, because I love, I love Miami, so I got a lot of love for Cuba, and so and the way that they value their men is just different, and they're like, and I think that's the thing of just being, with with some women, how you feel tolerated and
Mm-hmm.
not celebrated.
Yeah.
And so I feel like with women who are just not, has not just been Americanized by just like Western culture, like they value they men, they value a provider, they value, family. I feel like, and I feel like we kind of moved away from that, like just as a black family, like somewhere in the 60s or 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and so like that's what kind of like, that's what I kind of like I experienced that down in Miami. Like, somebody loves you, they love your skin, they love what you do and what you provide. It's not necessarily about just, what you can do. Somebody can give you a foot rub and things like that. And I seen that a lot. I seen that with more of the Asian women, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and so no, I definitely that has definitely, been, something that has swirled around in my brain. But I love my sisters, I love my sisters, and that has been something that I was like kind of pushing. Kevin Samuels, he's real, he has been real instrumental in just in my last like 6 months of just doing personal development.
Facts. Rest in peace to Kevin Samuels.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Facts. Facts.
And
All right.
the things that he would just hit.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Earl, go ahead.
Oh, you
Oh.
want this person to be A, B, and C, you got to be, D, E, and F. It got to go together. And so,
Mhm.
that's where I was at. That's where I was at. I was having just this past holiday. I was talking to my sister about that, and just about like, maybe we taught something wrong when it comes to dating, just with, of how to be there, because it's not necessarily, financially, just, emotionally and spiritually, and like, do we even, do people even want to, even want to go to church together? Was it always just trying to go to the club and going out to Benny Hanna's or something like that? And so, I started to look at that like, are we gonna be life partners? Are we, or is it just, a situation where we just together, we might be bugging or doing whoop de whoop or whatever. So, that's where I'm at with it, CJ.
All right, bet. Nurse Roxy, as a mother and an aunt, uh, to boys, how do you see this whole passport bro thing uh going for the young ladies of the future if this thing continues to carry on?
I'm gonna be completely transparent. You know, my peoples is from the Caribbean,
Uh-huh.
and so and my husband is American. So I mean, sometimes I do kind of like look at certain things and differences in our culture, and I think to myself like maybe he's seeing something in me as far as like I don't know, like just a difference in culture, like just a kind of being focused on him, being focused on our child, being focused on our family. Things just my own personal growth, but a lot of that is circumstantial in a sense where, um, although he is, Black American, and I'm not saying although, but I guess despite that theory, he comes from a well-off Black American family with a history of like long documented history of success and I mean notable figures. So for me, I look at it from a perspective that I wouldn't really call it like a Black American thing
Mhm.
um, per se, but I do think that there's factors that have to do, I think, have some implications around like cultures and geographic location. So, for example, with my parents being immigrants, there's a certain pressure that was just on myself, all of my first cousins, my siblings, that we had to like knock it out. Like you had to not whatever you were going to school for, you had to go above and beyond. It couldn't just be like um well, I'm just gonna go to school and just have B's. It was like, no, I gotta go there and have all A's. I have to have awards. I have to, be called during the ceremonies. I have to be the top performer. So there is that has always been a part of, I think, the story of like all of my first cousins. Just, I don't know, it just seemed like you just don't want to let your parents down. And so that there's a piece there. Again, like I said, my husband's African American and he still has those same values. So
Where's your family from? Where's your family from?
they're Jamaican.
Jamaican. Okay. Okay.
But I think as far as to your second question about like what I would promote for my nephews, and I just look at it from a standpoint of, because of, again, I know I'm sounding like hypocritical, but because of the socialization that I think I have observed just culturally, a lot of times when they are dating Black American women, my nephews, I always like explain to them, like, just make sure that they have not been taken in by the mindset of the city girl thing, because that's a strong influence. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that city girl thing is a strong influence. Before the city, I ain't gonna blame them alone, because before them there was Lil Kim, there was Trina, and everybody else, and that's a strong influence. So if there's a woman that's thinking that you're supposed to just empty your bank account out to buy her a purse or something, and she's feeding into that thing, just like if it's a dude that is thinking that he's gonna just walk around sagging and bagging and rapping, and I'm not gonna have me a real job. We this whole thing with, what's her name, B Simone, talking about, well, I don't like the 9 to 5 dude. That kind of mentality. If a woman is being like around that, just constantly around that, and she's picking up those cues, if that's how I'm supposed to behave as a female, yeah, then I would say you have to deal with women outside of the country who look at that as that's them, but that ain't me. You
Mm.
know.
Okay. Here's my thing with the passport bros. I'm not a passport bro. I do believe there are good Black American women here.
True.
But I understand it.
Yeah.
I understand the plight. And I am not the person that's going to tell you, oh, stick around, stick around. I am for uh, going where you're celebrated. You dig what I'm saying? And a lot of people's arguments are, well, they just want you for your money.
Exactly.
And don't you want him for his money too? And his resources? Because no woman wants a broke man. No woman wants a broke man. But if we have a culture here of women who have been brought up on independence and who have been taught not to need a man, then a man is only good for giving you things. And we're not saying all, of course I'm not saying all. But if you have a culture, the city girl culture, scam them, rob them, make him buy you this, make him buy you that, and men are going to these different cultures, being called black kings and chocolate kings and all that kind of stuff, and growing up with women who are more so traditional, and marrying those women. I've seen dozens of videos like this, and that makes me really it makes me worried for a lot of the Black American women here. Because I talk to these men who are successful. Like, I work with 2 ICU nurses that travel, and they don't mess with American women at all. Like, they go to the DR every other week. Like, this is what they do. Like, they don't mess with them at all. And I always say why. And their response to me is, why should I? And I say, well, I mean, I guess that's my answer. You dig? So I'm not the kind of person to be like, well, you need to stop dating all Black American women and all that kind of stuff, because I know, of course, not every Black American woman or American woman period has that city girl, only take what you can get ideology. But I'm a big fan of going where you're celebrated. I want to play this though. I want to play this, and I want to know the thoughts.
I see there.
Yeah.
There's a quick question. Do you feel like because I look at it, I'm looking at it like, do you feel like are the millennial generations kind of lost either loyalty or respect or just,
Well, here's the thing. I think a lot of from I don't know if it's necessarily loyalty, but this career said they can buy Dominican women. You can buy American women. I mean, it's no different. And to me, not to get off subject, but that's a weak argument. Oh, they want your money. American women want your money too. They put it in songs. Scam them, round, all that. Yeah. So that's not, to me, that's not a fair argument. If you're going to debate against them, that whole, well, they only want you for a green card and your money, like that is a weak argument. You're going to lose every time. Because what? I mean, I don't know. But anyway, I don't think it's necessarily a loyalty thing. I think that the men that are going over, a lot of these dudes were like nerds.
yeah.
And a lot of these dudes were like in the books. And maybe they may not be the best looking or whatever the case may be. So they're just leaving. And I've heard several dudes say, well, I like Black American women, but they don't like me. You know, I didn't have enough swag. I didn't know how to talk to them. So now I'm taking my resources, and not only am I living for cheaper, I'm dealing with the type of woman that, you know, from their point of view, that is respective and just all around traditional. Because a lot of these dudes not coming back. Like, it was the one YouTube video of this guy I saw. He was a passport bro. He said his wife got upset if he attempted to clean the house. She started crying. So if a man is getting that kind of treatment on top of living for cheaper where his dollar goes further, could I be mad at that? I can't. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I'm a passport bro. I'm not an advocate, but I understand it. I'm definitely a supporter of going where you are celebrated. But I want to play this video and I want to know y'all thoughts on this.
Funny, I'm not even mentioning any names except Black Kings or Afam Kings. They said you can have them. We don't care. They're just an old toy. And I was like, okay, that's not a problem because we Filipina value old toys. And now that I'm trying to help all these Afam Kings and Black Kings, it's still a problem. They're laughing and bashing at me for trying to help quality man to marry a Filipina. They said they don't care, but they're still talking about it. Are you sure you don't care, or are you just afraid of losing good men's in the Western world? Are you trying to stop me from helping future king to find their Filipina queens? Not gonna happen. So my friends, especially to my chocolate kings, please protect me from all the hyenas who wants to stop me from finding your Filipina queen. Thank you.
Whew. All right. Nurse Roxy, let me get your thoughts on that.
I mean, she know what she wants. I mean, to me, I feel like, you know, is she know what she wants. I can't fault her for it because, you know, she may have an affinity for black men, and I don't like the use of hyenas. I don't like anyone describing black women or think she's referring to black women as any type of form of creature or animal. But I definitely can't knock her opinion for it. Definitely can't knock her opinion for it.
And see, that's going to be an issue that I feel like a lot of American women are going to face, because now you have other women
Exactly.
online openly saying, we want you, we desire you, come to us. When you have a lot of women here that say niggas ain't shit. So that's going to be a problem, because more and more and more you are starting to see women competing, openly competing for black men now.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And a lot of these women get on here and they say, well, we don't want them anyway. But that's not what your actions are saying, because it's hundreds of videos demonizing these men for going. These men aren't throwing it in their faces. They're not. They're just simply telling other brothers, you need to leave where you are and come here. Now you have other women who don't mind openly saying that I want your man and I'm willing to do what I have to do to take him. That's power. To be that open with it. And these channels are popping up. They're literally saying that you don't want his black babies, I'll have them. Give them to me. Give me his seed. I want his seed. They're your throwaways. You don't want them, we'll take them. And I think the whole phenomenon, black men are like, wow, I'm literally not used. A lot of black men are not used to women openly competing for them, saying that I want you, come here, come to me. Rather it's from a place of sincerity, or if it's from a selfish place, or if it's just from a place of her trying to get something. The fact is, I don't think black men are used to hearing that. What do you think, Earl?
Man, I agree 100%, man. Like a lot of women are internationally love black men, and I'm all for it because I believe that competition there's a such thing called healthy competition. And so, I would lie to tell you that I don't compare. Sometimes I don't find myself comparing somebody, because comparing myself to, to another part, to another, like another black man from the Congo or another Nigeria, so I believe that, it's a healthy competition, and, and you can't fault somebody for knowing what they want. They love black. A lot of other women love black men outside of African American. They love black men, and I'm all for it.
Career said that they fetishize us, but black men, they don't care.
Exactly.
Like, that's the thing. Like, men look at that totally different. Like, they don't care if they fetishize them or not. They just know that they're getting theirs, and to them it looks like a fair deal. It looks like a good deal. Okay. But yeah, but I don't know. Any final thoughts? We about to get up out of here. I've been on an hour and a half, and I gotta get ready for orientation in the morning. But any final thoughts? Earl, I'm gonna go to you, then I'm gonna go to Nurse Roxy, and we're gonna wrap this thing up.
Final thoughts, man. Every relationship is give and take, so you gotta look at what you bringing to the table, and what she bringing to the table, and vice versa. And I think as well, it's a final thought is just be patient. Be patient. With love. In real relationships.
Mm-hmm.
The struggle is real and the thirst is real. So that's what I'm wrapping up with, man. Just just understand that everything is give and take, and know who you want to be in that commitment with. I'm turning back over to you, CJ.
Got you. Okay. So Nurse Roxy, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for actually having me on the panel. It's always a pleasure to discuss with you and any other panel guests. These issues are issues I think is important for us to explore. I think, the issues around expectations as far as what men and women are supposed to do. And I know that the late Kevin Samuels was always crucified for some of his strong opinions, but I think it's important for us to have this type of discourse. And back to some of the issues that we covered today, I really think that, Black people need to be prepared and in ways where we don't have to be so hard on one another about expectations as far as, taking on a leftover family, or, the circumstances that would make a man feel obligated to take on responsibilities, or a woman feeling like she's abandoned if the man doesn't take on responsibility. So, I respect Dr. Umar Johnson. He's a great thought leader for the areas, like as far as education and everything. But, we do have to be very mindful of these talking heads, including myself, including you, right? And anybody else who is a YouTuber or anything like that, because, we do have our perspectives and we do have an audience that follows us. But in the case of somebody like Dr. Umar Johnson, he got a thing he's pushing. He got an audience he talks to. And we just don't want to create monsters where people are actually thinking that they're supposed to be pushing that agenda on young minds, young professionals picking up responsibilities like that. That's just the wrong thing. Dr. Umar Johnson, you got to do better in that area, because there's too many young people depending on you.
Absolutely. Okay. And one more thing, just to be just because I'm curious, Nurse Roxy, do you feel like with the competition that's going on and as open as some of these other women from other countries are, do you think black women here have to be more competitive? What do you think? Just in your quick thoughts.
Definitely, that definitely have to be more competitive, and definitely have to be a little bit more concerned about the perspective of everyone, not just thinking like, well, again, the more women see that the more black women here in the United States see that other women want black American men, is the more they get their reality check, that you could actually be out here and be very single.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was today's episode of THVN Live. I appreciate y'all turning in. Thank you for watching the replay. And yeah, man, y'all just do what y'all got to do to stay safe, keep grinding. My name is CJ, aka the High Value Nurse, and I will holler at y'all soon. Peace.